Percent based, it's cool. I mean, if you're in debt to somebody who knows how debt works, you could just never pay it off. You could just pay interest for the rest of your life. And they get essentially infinite money. Well, not infinite money, but they get... I mean, credit card debt is the worst thing. Credit cards are so bad because they clearly take advantage of people who are bad at planning and who are bad at managing money. I mean, if you're good at managing money, you don't need a credit card, right? If you're not an impulse spender, you don't need a credit card. So credit cards only work on people who are not very good at financial planning. And then if you're not very good at financial planning, then you just pay out your butt in interest. Corrupted. I've had it for like 2 years, so I probably paid a fair amount of debt, but it's getting paid off now, so I don't mind. Well, okay. I mean, if you're managing, you're managing. But am I allowed to be depressing, Cody? Am I allowed to ask you to calculate how much you've paid in interest and compare that to the size of the loan? Maybe I shouldn't say that. But yeah, like it's like stuff like credit cards. It so clearly takes advantage of people. I haven't tried it on the dot, but I guess about 450 over the 2 years. Wait, so $1,000 will pay off most of your loans. You've paid 450 over 2 years in interest? Is that so? You're gonna end up paying double? Is that what I'm reading, Cody? You're gonna, or 150% at least. 25 a month. Yeah, it adds up. It adds up, man. Are you paying off just the interest, or are you paying off the actual loan as well? Yeah, well that's debt for you. I mean, you just said it. You just said it. You end up paying 150% back for the stuff you borrow. Like it's so insane. It's just a trap for people who don't do the math and who don't pay attention to this stuff. And of course, the people giving you the loan, of course, they pay attention to the math. I was just paying off the interest for a long time. That was awful. Yeah, that sounds awful. Well, it sounds great for the bank. You know what I mean? It sounds awful for you, but it sounds like a cash cow for the bank. I don't know. I disagree with loans and debt. It's so like it's literally exploiting people. Where do I want this to go? I guess I want to avoid this a little bit here, so I guess I'll go straight across here, diagonal across here, and then up this hill. Do I want to go down again? I end up having to leave my job at an inconvenient time due to personal relationship stuff, so I got screwed for... Yeah. That too. Cody... I guess stuff like welfare and social security and unemployment benefits are supposed to avoid those things, but you know, we don't live in an ideal world. I mean, like people people like to talk about things like personal responsibility and saving money and stuff like that. But the point I want to make is that, like, who benefits? Who benefits the most from there not being good unemployment protection and welfare? The banks benefit. The people who loan you money and then ask you to pay 150% back, those are the people who benefit. So it's one of these things that it helps rich people and it screws poor people, basically. And it's not, I mean, I think about it in terms of economic efficiency. Like putting some people in debt just so that other people can profit off them without working. I've always lived in very low means, but I still don't consider myself poor, though I probably should. Well, you're not starving and but you're not rich. Let's put it that way. Is that right, Cody? Would that be correct? I mean, debts have cost to society. One thing that debt does is that not starving definitely as far as possibly can be from rich. Yeah. Not starving, but nowhere near rich. I mean, what debt does, one of the things that debt does is that it prevents people from being entrepreneurial. Have a roof, have internet, have power. Well, you're here on Twitch, so I guess you do have those things. Imagine a homeless guy watching my streams from a phone or something. Yeah. I think I want to step down by a couple of blocks here. You know what? I'm going to step down one more block. Definitely living from month to month. Can't really save even if I want to. See, that prevents you from being an entrepreneur, right? Because you can't afford to attempt anything that's risky. And so, like, even if you have a brilliant idea for a new business, I mean, business startups, I think about 25% of them succeed. So, but I mean, if you succeed, you'll earn the money back. But basically, like, if you want to start a new business, be an entrepreneur, you kind of have to fail 4 times before something works. And so you have to be able to afford to actually lose money for like several years before you start earning money again. And so that's the cost of being an entrepreneur. So if a lot of people don't have a lot of money, then that economy can't afford entrepreneurialism. And so everybody is just working for a wage instead of trying to build a new business. And over time, the economy becomes less dynamic because there's fewer new businesses starting up because people can't afford to try new things because they're living from month to month, as you say. I don't know if I ever want to invest in a startup of sorts, but I would be satisfied to have the time to educate myself in the things I enjoy at least. See, I mean, education in a way is another way that manifests itself. So conceivably, if you could educate yourself more, that would allow you to be more productive in the future because you have more education, you know more stuff you can do, you become more productive through higher education. But because you live from month to month, you can't afford education, and so you just continue doing what you're doing now. And so the economy loses the benefit of the increased productivity that you would contribute if you were educated. So if you could afford to not work for like 3 years and go get more education, then after 3 years you'll come back and you'll make up for that time with more productivity over the rest of your working years. But you can't afford to do that. It's the same way that you can't afford to start a new business, you can't afford to go to school again. And so all of that over time makes the entire economy less dynamic. If everybody can't afford more education, then your whole country is dumb. Like that actually hurts the economy as a whole. Yeah. So it puts more profits into the hands of bankers who lend you money. It sucks even more when you're pretty sure of your own aptitude. Yeah, tell me about it. So it's like, if you had a little bit more, and it's not like, so people like talking when people say, oh, welfare is just people leeching off the system. Well, that's not really how it is. Welfare is investing in the future of your economy. Like stuff like free tertiary education as an idea. I mean, it's not just giving kids free stuff, because a more educated workforce is going to pay for itself in the long run by having more productive workers in your economy. Like it eventually pays for itself. But the notion that people should just be personally responsible and pay for everything out of their own pocket means that you lose the potential increase in productivity that you would gain if you just educate everyone. And as well as stuff like business startups. Healthcare is similar. Like if somebody gets sick, ideally they get healthcare not because you're necessarily being nice to them. I mean, we should be nice to people, but because a sick person can't work, right? Like if a sick person can't work, if they're not working, they can't pay taxes, and so they're just kind of suffering and not being productive. Yeah, so healthcare is important like that too. So education, healthcare, and unemployment protection, unemployment benefits. It makes people more able to be productive. So anyway, do we go diagonally from? I think we just go diagonally straight from there, and then we climb up this hill, right? Okay. I mean, when the government doesn't pay for free tertiary education out of taxpayer money, it just means that kids have to go to the bank and get a student loan, get a loan to get an education. It puts them in debt. When they come out of school, they can't try to start their own business because they're already in debt and they can't borrow more money to start a business. And so they have to, work for someone else. Even if they have a brilliant idea or if they're some sort of inventor or something, they still have to work for someone else because they can't afford to be entrepreneurial. And all of it is just so that bankers can make money. And bankers don't have to do that to make money. Like bankers don't have to make money from poor students. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or like bankers don't need to make money from people who borrow money for essential medical care. Like there are a lot of ways for bankers to make money. How do we get on this topic? I don't remember how we got into this topic. Oh, that's right. The guy, whether $1,000 is a lot of money, right? Well, I can tell you $1,000 is nothing to a bank. Literally nothing to a bank. I mean, it does say something about the state of the economy. That cow, can you? It does say something about the state of the economy that $1,000 would elicit a big response. This sheep is stuck in here now, isn't he? No, he's not. Is he? Alright, he's fine. I mean, debt. There are good ways that debt can work, although I'm not sure that's true actually. So if you actually have a plan to make money in some sort of business venture, and you just need capital to get started, I mean, that sort of debt is perfectly reasonable. You know, like you want to build a factory to make underwear or something, and so you need sewing machines, right? So you borrow money, buy a sewing machine, make your underwear, sell the underwear, make money, repay the loan. Like that sort of thing is pretty reasonable, perfectly reasonable. Because everybody involved is there to make money. Like it's business. It's business borrowing money for business. But when it's stuff like, oh, I need to borrow money for food, I need to borrow money for healthcare, I need to borrow money for education, that is a different thing. That is exploiting people's vulnerabilities, right? That's not just business. That's people desperate to stay alive, and you're putting them in debt to take advantage of their desperation. So that I don't agree with. Alright, so we come straight through here from that side, and I suppose we can go from this level. Let me just get rid of those for a bit. So diagonally from there. Hi Saffron, welcome. Hey Saffron, did you say you were from New York or near New York, or was it some another city? New York is amazing. I want to talk about New York. Even New York State. Okay, well, New York State is not quite the same as New York City, I guess. So, does New York slang extend to New York State, or is it just New York City? And are we allowed to speak in New York slang just because it's funny? Let me extend this out a couple of blocks. I'm not sure I know much New York slang. Okay, all right. I guess it's mostly New York City. But that's interesting, isn't it? Like even New York State is really nothing like New York City. New York City is its own thing. New York City is amazing. Like it culturally. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So interesting, New York City. I mean, there's something about big cities, isn't it? I guess Tokyo can claim similar thing. Tokyo, London, New York. Like they generate their own culture somehow. And like New York slang is one of these things. Oh crap, this is the wrong way. It's like like New York slang is New York City generating its own language. When you get a lot of people in the same place at the same time, weird things happen. Weird and interesting things happen. I want to step down one block. There? I guess there's fine.